Gunther. The ring had a roll. Gunther.
Yeah. Yep.
Versus
Evil man.
The biggest bully.
Evil man.
The biggest bully in WWE decided he was going to go bully Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Of all Michael Cole, this ain't like, 11, 12 wrestling Jerry the King Lawler in the orange singlet.
No.
A-hole Michael Cole. No, this is a turned over a new leaf, mentioning, New Japan, like the reins being taken off of him, like no one in his ear holding him back. This is now goated Michael Cole.
Yeah.
You want to come out? You want to put your hands on Michael Cole?
Yep.
We can't have that. You know who didn't have that was Pat McAfee.
That's right.
My man Pat stood up.
Yeah.
He said, no. You are
not in
not
this house.
Not while I'm here. You can't
Yeah.
be putting your hands on Michael Cole. And then what happened? He suffered a beatdown for it. He got choked out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I remember, O'Shea, when this is before you start wrestling, watching wrestling apparently, because Hogan he was in WCW. So maybe you were watching at this point. There was a point with The Rock, and I'm going to say this is like 97, 98, where The Rock was right on the precipice, like, of becoming like the man. Mm. And there was one point where The Undertaker and I believe Kane came out, they did something, Rock jumped into a situation, and he took a nice little beat down. Yeah. And The Rock got on TV the next week, and if I remember it correctly, he said, I knew I was going to get my ass kicked, but that was an ass kicking The Rock had to take. And it was that moment where I was like, bona fide. Official, it's a wrap. My man's a star at that moment. And I'm not saying that was what happened with Pat, but I'm saying Pat had to know, if I step into this, probably going to end with me getting my ass kicked, but this is ass kicking I'm going to have to take.
Yeah.
And he got choked out.
Down for the homie.
But he didn't just take it laying down. He said,
Yeah.
I'm a man. You're a man.
I'm a man.
We got to throw hands.
Yeah, we got to get down. We can't.
You can't just punk me out and beat me down like that. Like, I'm a man. Like, I got to get my lick back, or at least try to. So that led us to this match, Gunther against Pat McAfee.
And Pat, we know that Pat can put on a match. When
Just go back and watch
somebody who is an athlete. He's an athlete,
very athletic.
Dude is, he's
all decade punter.
One of the short list of people that made it to the National Football League.
Yeah,
like the dude's an athlete, loves wrestling. So that fan in there, that fan in his head waits for shit like this. So like when you hear Pat on the card, Pat is gonna get down. Wrestling in the cool gray Jordan 11s, by the way.
That was a choice. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, damn, Pat, you might bleed today, G. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, put him up.
That's what I kept thinking. It was like, don't step on his J's, man.
Yeah. I was like, damn, in the cool grays, Pat. But did his thing. Obviously, he's not gonna be good.
No.
And he shouldn't.
He should not be able to beat Gunther.
No, and you don't make somebody like Gunther have back-to-back losses.
No, it's just the man's we can count the amount of people that have beaten him in the last 4 years. So you don't. Now, I think one of the things was people online talking about, well, maybe this should have been a squash, right? Well, what's the point of doing a squash match?
Taking up card space for a squash?
So the thing is, Gunther was very cocky. He's a very cocky, arrogant man. He didn't respect Jey Uso and everything he's done. Of course, he's not going to respect Pat. There were times where he could have maybe won. He didn't go for the pin. He took him lightly. He wanted to just put up more punishment. That's what drew the match out. That's what made it go longer. But the more you let a underdog with heart, Pat got all the heart, the more you let him hang on, the greater there's a chance that for 3 seconds, because that's all it takes. One shot, 3 seconds, that you might take that L.
When Michael Cole was holding on to Gunther's foot,
I thought that was it.
Woo!
I did. Because the whole time I'm like, obviously Pat can't win this match. And I love the fact that Michael was very open about it. Like, I am not going to be professional. I am going to be rooting for this man. And so the way he called the match, I enjoyed. I enjoyed Wade Barrett kind of being, you could tell like he didn't really, you know, he didn't really know what to do, right?
Yeah.
And then when Michael gets involved, I'm like, all right, Is Barrett now?
I was about to say, out of the three, like Pat, Mike, and Barrett,
like,
wait,
there's one guy there, bro, who I really want. Like, there's a dude who's won that IC title 5 times.
Yeah.
Who was a bare knuckle fighter in England.
Yeah. Help.
Help. Can you,
bro? Like, please.
So I think we all kind of were waiting. Is this the Wade Barrett moment? And
right.
he didn't get involved. Against all odds, Pat did his thing. Of course, he took the L because it's Gunther.
Have to, dude. You have to. He just had the world title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, we're not going against Joe Schmo here. So, no disrespect to Adam Cole because that's who Pat McAfee beat.
Yeah. But Pat, I thought he did a great job. He took a lot of punishment, man. Like those chops.
Yeah,
you can't. You got to take them. There's no way to fake the chop. There's no way to fake the slap other than.
And I loved how, like, you would see Pat start to like rally, and then Gunther shut it down. One move,
boom,
one move. Like,
crack.
I'll give you 5 chops, but one from Gunther, and I'm down.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, one kick down. And I just feel like they protected Gunther in such a great way during that match, and also didn't make Pat look like a punk.
It didn't.
Yeah,
no.
like at all.
And Pat got some offense, and the moonsault he did. Then the German, like, man, Pat
in the cool gray Jordan 11s.
In the cool gray, Gunther got back into the wing column, which he needed. McAfee went out there. He stood up for his man Michael Cole and himself, like a man would do, and. He fought a fight that he knew he probably wasn't going to win, but that didn't stop him. And he went out there and he put on a really good show, man. So props to you, Pat, for doing, I think, what all of us who've ever been a wrestling fan, right, have always had a secret desire to be able to get in that ring and do something. But not all of us are ever really going to be able to do that. So as a lifelong fan that he is, and you get to, if you watch Stephanie's Places on ESPN, she did a great interview with Pat. He talked about being a lifelong wrestling fan. The fact that one night he got drunk and ordered a ring. He was found out. He's like, I found out I was boozed up. I found out I could order a ring. It got delivered to my barn. He was back there practicing before he even started with NXT. Like, wow, this man is one of us.
Yeah.
He's a lifelong wrestling fan. So, anytime I get to see someone who I know is a wrestling fan and grew up loving it the way I did or you did, to see them get that chance to do this, man, that's super cool, bro. Super cool.
You bring that point up, and me and you had a conversation one day about The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
Him getting as much hate as he did in the beginning, it makes so unfair.
It makes no sense. And look, I booed The Miz, but I had a story, and there's a reason. And one day we will tell that story. We will tell that story to The Miz as he sits in this chair, because I'll be over there. But at some point, so when I tell you why I just booed The Miz for years, I know, you'll be like, oh, okay. But that was just because of an incident that happened. But the fact of the matter is, here's a kid who was a lifelong wrestling fan, just like all of us who are watching, who got on a reality show, and his whole thing on the reality show was, I love wrestling. I'm going to KB Toy Store, Toys R Us, and I'm buying a WWE title belt. And I'm going to make up a character right now on the Real World. Why, when that guy made it to WWE, would we not be like, that is us, that is our dude?
Yeah.
But instead we chose to boo him.
This dude from the Real World. No, man, I was going to do this, but the Real World called me. I got to pay these bills, baby. Like, what do you want me to do? So poor Miz.
Miz should have been cheered long ago, but he fell into the heel roll, and he does it.
He's good at it
as well, if not better than almost anybody. But we were talking about that. It should have been. We all should have been like, yeah, man. He's one of us. He's doing what we wish we could do.
It. Like, he should have been just like a beacon of hope. Like, nope.
But the fans turned their back on Miz, and because of that, though, we helped make one of the greatest heels of all time.
Yeah.
So props to The Miz.
2-time Grand Slam.
And I'll say this. I don't know if I mentioned this on an earlier episode, but after night 1, going back to the hotel at the Fontainebleau, I saw Miz, and he's telling me how he got called out of bed to go make an appearance in the middle of the night. Middle of the night. We were at the club when he came in, grabbed the mic, did the Miz thing, which he does better than anyone else. I'm walking back to my hotel. I'm coming this way. He comes this way. I'm like, yo, what's up? He goes, oh, man, I just was at this club. I was like, bro, me and O'Shea were just there. He's like, yeah, they called me, said somebody didn't show up. I was in bed in my underwear. I got dressed.
What a pro.
Threw on his clothes, got to the club, cut a 2-3 minute promo, did the Miz thing, and then headed back to bed. And I was like, bro, that's awesome. Why you are who you are, because they know that and I guess it's a good or a bad thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
the fact that they know
they
can call you, which kind of sucks if you're in bed, but also knowing that because you are that person, you'll never have to worry about collecting an unemployment check.
Yeah, bro, you know, they keep him Miz.
Oh, without a doubt.
Come on, man.
Because who else is going to do that? Yeah. You know, who else can you count on and depend to in the middle of the night go to a club and cut a promo and get the crowd worked up and fired up? And then I literally just saw the man walking back to his room to go to bed.
And without the Miz, who are you going to make random tag teams with?
Right?
Like, bro, the dudes that teamed up with everybody.
And I said this weeks ago when it first looked like it was going to happen. For whatever reason, him and Mello together, I'm like, I don't know why, but I am 1,000% buying this, and it makes sense to me, and I like watching them together.
Yeah. Watch new episodes of No Contest Wrestling every Wednesday or listen wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us at No Contest Wrestling Podcast on Instagram.